We have the opportunity to make a habit of empathy.
Rules will only get you through the 25th mile of the legal marathon. That last mile can only be determined, he said, on the basis of one's deepest values, one's core concerns, one's broader perspectives on how the world works, and the depth and breadth of one's empathy. Thus, the entrance of the empathy issue to this debate. I respectfully disagree with now President Obama. Our judges must decide all cases in adherence to legal precedent and rules or of statutory or constitutional construction. It doesn't mean if they do that they don't have empathy. I would agree, and I think everybody would agree, everybody on the Supreme Court has empathy. But the role of a judge is not to rule based on his or her own personal judgments, but to adhere to the laws as they are written. While Judge Sotomayor stated during her confirmation hearing that, quote, "It is not the heart that compels conclusions in cases, it is the law," I still have concerns regarding her ability to remain impartial. She has made some statements in law review articles and speeches that are of serious concern. I am not convinced that Judge Sotomayor will set aside her personal judgments and views. While on the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, Judge Sotomayor joined a 4-paragraph ruling, Mr. President, on property rights. In Didden versus Village of Port Chester, the appellants claimed that a developer demanded $800,000 in order to avoid condemnation of the property by the city. When the appellants refused to pay the $800,000, they received a petition to initiate condemnation. Although the second court, excuse me, Mr. President, of Appeals dismissed the case, it was noted that relief could not be granted based on the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Kelo versus the City of New London. Now, that 4-paragraph ruling didn't even provide an in-depth analysis as to how the Kelo ruling applied to the facts at hand. In fact, the Kelo decision acknowledges that a city, no doubt, would be forbidden. While on the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, Judge Sotomayor joined a 4-paragraph ruling on property rights. And as I've indicated in that story, the appellants claimed that a developer demanded $800,000 to avoid the condemnation. When they refused, they received a petition to initiate condemnation. And although the Second Court basically ruled that way in regards from taking land for the purpose of conferring a private benefit on a particular private party, that was the decision. The 4-paragraph ruling it didn't is very troubling. In Kansas, land is gold. Farmland is platinum. We have a healthy respect for property rights in Middle America. It also bothers me that a court could make a broad statement without analyzing and applying the facts to case law. Turning to firearm rights, Judge Sotomayor joined an opinion ruling that the Second Amendment is not a fundamental right and therefore does not apply to state and local governments. It is likely that at some point the Second Amendment's application to states could be argued before the Supreme Court. That could come very quickly. I would certainly hope that should this matter be argued before the Supreme Court, Judge Sotomayor would recuse herself. However, in her testimony in regards to hearings, she indicated that she saw no reason to recuse herself in any decision. That was not, however, the statements that were made at their nomination hearings by Judges Alito and Roberts. Mr. President, I do not discount the fact that Judge Sotomayor is a very accomplished judge and has an extensive judicial record. However, some of her statements, writings, and rulings also really concern me. They indicate that her personal judgments and views may impact her judicial decisions. We have a constitutional obligation to ensure that our judges are impartial and faithful to the law. During Chief Justice John Roberts' confirmation hearing, he noted that judges and justices are servants of the law. not the other way around. Judges are like umpires. Umpires don't make the rules. They apply them. The role of an umpire and judge is critical. They make sure everybody plays by the rules, not by empathy. But it is a limited role. Nobody ever went to a ball game to see an umpire. I am not convinced that Judge Sotomayor will be an umpire and will consistently adhere to the rule of law as opposed to empathy. For these reasons, I oppose her nomination, and for others that will be cited by my colleagues who are also opposed. I yield the floor.